make a summary, starting off from where Kaya concluded her remarks with the EPC, European Political Community. We are, in the meantime, making intense preparations for the European Political Community Summit, slated to take place on May 16th in Tirana, that will bring all the leaders of the continent together. And I'm referring to the democratic European continent, from the UK to Azerbaijan, from Sweden to Turkey. They will come together to address the topics determined to be part of this summit. This is something exceptional for Albania and something exceptional for the region as well. And there is a reason why it's happening in Albania. I believe that this is a great appreciation as well as quite a great responsibility for us as actors in this region that is becoming increasingly important to the EU. Second, I wish to say that prior to this conference, the signing of the agreements is part of a mass investment program in the railway infrastructure. That is the reason why the 5 years between now and the end of this decade is going to be a time where railways are going to be restored in Albania, of course, at a much elevated quality and level as compared to previously. That is one of a plethora of reasons, not only to believe, but also to fight so that the country becomes member of the European Union, because thanks to this relationship we are able today to make a series of investments that otherwise would have been impossible for us. On the other hand, the European Union is not simply about investments. For ourselves, for our history, for the way we have been seeking Europe is first and foremost about freedom. It's about individual rights and equality before the law. We've never had equality before the law. And only in the last years we are engaged in an exercise that is unprecedented for ourselves, for our people. And this is the exercise to have or to be equal before the law, thanks to the reform in justice. I will repeat this. Since 1912, when the country was declared independent from the empire of the time, we have had no cases whatsoever in which a person vested with political power to have been adjudicated freely and independently. So we went from there to the communist dictatorship and then to the democratic transition, but never did we have so far an independent and impartial judgment, and we've never known what is equality before the law. We are laying the foundations today of such equality before the law, and we need to enter the European Union, particularly for that reason, so that equality before the law is irreversible, so that it is not depending on the will or lack thereof of a government or another, of a prime minister or another, but be a non-negotiable norm that is impossible to be violated by anyone whatsoever. And if we become a member of such family, this is guaranteed. And this is quite critical for us. Obviously, if we are experiencing this historic moment, that is the result of viewed from the historical perspective and with the eyes of the future. I am not satisfied, but I am very proud. I am very proud because this is one of those cornerstones which could be covered by the mud of the day-to-day politics, but history will always remember and take into account as state-building moments in time. There is no question that I'm not satisfied, but I'm very proud. We are going to support strongly this process of equality before the law, and the alliance with the European Union is an absolute assurance for this, because the European Union has all the know-how and all the tools to facilitate this process, which without the European Union would have been impossible. By way of concluding, I wish to repeat that when we started off on this journey, we were under the same economic and social conditions as Iraq or Afghanistan or other countries like this. But I'm taking these two countries because they tried to turn into a democracy. We had no relation whatsoever with Estonia and other countries of the East because we used to be the Northern Korea in this continent. And if we are at this point today, and if we are close to the door of the EU, whereas Afghanistan is turned in the hands of the Taliban and the Iraq is in a chaos, is only for a reason, because they don't have the European Union and we have it. They do not have the blessing of being at the heart of Europe and having a source of know-how for the state and institutions and the institutional culture, but we do have such blessing. So there is no question that we are very proud of it, and we will not rest until we step into the door of the European Union and sit around the same table of the European Union, just like someone who is madly in love. And no matter how much he is told, beware, because marriage is not the most beautiful thing that could happen to you, they actually are relentless in pursuing their love until they marry. And actually, as a person who can speak very competently about marriage, I can say that at the end of the day, there is nothing better than marriage when it is the right one. And Kaya, you know that this is a marriage-based process for me, not a merit-based process.